Hello. So today I thought we were going to show you how to use my other tool about the custom creation of animation export. So one of the issues I found when creating a weapon for Arma was the sight animation. One thing I noted that was when you use the common W underscore sight bone to use with your sight, depending on your gun that you are swapping out, like the AK or M16, the bone can have some other parented or child's name to the same bone, making that if you, for example, like here I have a slider that goes in one axis and the sight that will go in another axis. So if I, for example, animated the slider and gave it the name W underscore sight, it would also affect the sight or vice versa. So it would have some strange effects, and I tied it back to the export pre-selected export functions when you have sight and you use, for example, 223 weapon sight. So it didn't really fit into what I was making, and probably won't fit into what you guys are making as well. So if you change it to say W sight underscore 2, you can have whatever you want, and then you have a slider. I think you can work it out a lot better than what's previously existing in Arma. So if you already have, I'm not going to animate this again, of course, but I'm going to just show you the process of how to use this tool. I'll have a link to the GitHub where you can get everything. So first off, you of course have to animate it, and that's what I've done here. You can see that the slider is moving back and the sight is moving up for each of these ticks. But in game, I really just needed one. I came to realize. So I'm not going to use the last point. I'm just going to use the first and second point. Yeah, so when you have your animation done, I assume you're familiar with the action NLA editor and how to use the action menu and such. We can turn this back on, and I will check to see. I need actually to put this on 11 because I get 11 frames, like so. And yes, so when you are going to make your profile, I have also made a little flowchart kind of system. This is also in the GitHub under helper folder, where you can also, there's going to be two files. You have the profile guide and you have the Arma animation helper that just gives you the list of all the pre-made profiles, and you can easily find them. And as well, you can say swap this to your profile name, so it just can copy all of the names where you're supposed to put in the, let's see, in here. So you just can have a more easy workflow for what I like, at least. But yes, so if we go in here, then let's say we are going to have the sight and the slider. So I'm gonna need some rotation, or like movement, not rotation, I'm sorry, but movement in two planes. So I'm gonna use the weapon animation because we're gonna use a weapon. Reload, trigger, bolt, just examples. We are going to use we need the precision position, and we need only position, and then standard. You're gonna use standard animation for 99% of your choices, so just pick that. And we got a form for TA recommendation to test out. So that just means how the animation export is going to use your animation and what it can allow, if it's going to allow rotation or not. And there's also a bit more information you can read yourself here, and a few example cases. But yes, so if we go back to Blender, we can create our export. So I'm gonna leave it at just default everything because you don't really need to touch if you're not gonna use for a vehicle or a car. The only thing these preset changes are inside here. The sorts of entities that you're going to need by making this. So I'm gonna leave it at that, leave it at the default, or just click weapon. We can also import the existing profiles if you want to change a few of them. But mainly we are going to add our own bones. So we are going to go to, we are in post mode. Important, we are in post mode. You have to be in that or edit mode to select the bones that you specifically want, or you can just add all the bones and click away the ones you don't want. I am gonna do this, and then I'll click these two bones in the right here, and then add them. And as well, you need to add the root. There we go. So they are default on TRD, so let's change those to TA as were suggested. Translation absolute, translation absolute. There we are, and we can export profile. Find, and you need to find your folder for where the pre-made profiles are. So it's going to be inside your tools, Arma, reforger tools, and Blender, and Fusion data, animes, and export profiles. You can see I already made a few just to test. So let's call this YouTube test anim. And there we go. Export this. It was successful. And now we can export the animation using now our created profile. Yes, we can then go to this setting. We'll just remove this, so I'll do it from the start. You find your action animation. I'm actually gonna do it like this, because if you have it selected and you export, you just create another action. Not sure why it does that, but that's how it is. So just to uncheck it. And Fusion animation, if you don't see it the first time, just open and close this window after you have created your custom profile. So let's find it YouTube test anim, and then we want to call it YouTube test site. Then you will find your action, and then you don't really need to do this, but I just usually do it just to keep peace of mind. But yes, and then we have to select, of course, where to save it. So you're gonna find your profile or a project in the tools animes and save location. Here we go. Looks correct. Save, imported successfully, and then we can go into the animation side. So I'm gonna, you can see I already have the animation in here, but let's assign it. Then we should get the same animation when we then apply this one. There we go. So yes, that's how you use the exportation tool.